Which room? 17 might be me. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Playing with the little shields on the windows.
Oh, okay.
This isn't too bad.
It isn't too bad. Hello, can we look at your room? Can you open the door? Is that all right? We're going to film your room, but we won't film your face, okay? This is Mr. Jiggets, right? You want to pull your pants up for me? Just a little bit. Thank you. Your room looks very nice. Very nice. You doing okay today?
Hey, Bears fan.
Are you a Bears fan?
Walter Payton. That was my guy.
He doesn't even know who Walter
That
Payton
proves
is.
how
do
old
you?
I am. You can't be a Bears fan and not know who Walter Payton is, right? Yeah.
I still remember practice.
I met him while he was still alive. I said he was when we did an interview with him, and when we went to hug him goodbye, I'm not kidding you, that guy was like touching a brick wall. He was just the most solid guy. You know, they said he used to wear combat boots and run those sand dunes up at Lake Michigan. That was his workout. He was the man.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thanks.
sir.
Get up.
I'll let you secure that. Okay, so what's on your window? What is that? What is it? Toilet tissue. Okay. So, I mean, you can see that the reason we have this on there is so that we can talk to them and not get something on us if they're angry with us. And you can open it and stand back here and still hear them, but it's just kind of another protection.
Isn't it called like a spit screen?
Yeah, spit guard, spit guard. And then the cuff porch opens out and you can put the handcuffs on them or take the handcuffs off and give them their food, or you can give them schoolwork or anything like that.
Well, like I said, the thing is that basically,
Any other questions you want to see?
just go back to the unit once you get out of here, man. Like I said, if you get upset,
Although they're eating, so they'll probably be pretty quiet.
That's not what I heard. They asked me this morning and I said, well, if you do, I'll be there.
Just from there.
Yeah.
No one seems that stoked.
All right.
It used to be when you walked through here, they would be Calamari, so they would be shooting these notes on the door on screens. And it was crazy.
So some of the boys on this side are actually serving segregation time for a recent policy violation, conduct violation. We'll go and talk to Mr. Hillard. Andre, did you want to talk?
Yeah.
I came in this morning, but you were sleeping. I decided not to wake you up. So what's going on?
So look, and me and Tom are going up to the police tomorrow.
Say that again.
And me and Tom are going up to the police tomorrow.
You know, I don't know. I haven't seen the list. But if you are, I'll be there. Okay?
You tell Miss she has to come out.
I'll tell her that you want to talk to her. Sure. Okay? Were you guys good over the weekend?
Yeah.
Say yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right. Thank you. When they're good, they're so good. I mean, just as bad. Oh, just a minute. It doesn't look too good, does it? You okay? What's going on with you? Yes. Are you okay now? All right. Are you tired? Were you up all night? Well, that will make you tired, won't it? All right, thank you. The reason this has the window like that is we can use this room for a student who needs more observation. Okay, so it's easy to see them. So that's why we have that window like that. He has a tendency to be on close observation a lot, so that's probably why they have him in this room. He's what I call a strong-willed child. Very oppositional.
Contrarian.
Very, very. So whatever you say, it's just the opposite. Only not a little bit, a lot. Okay? Well, let's not watch them. That'll encourage them more. This is how their food comes. It's in a tray with a top on it. So that keeps it sanitary for them. That was pretty quiet.
It was quiet for Seg. If we would have stayed longer, it would have gotten louder.
Yeah, well, it depends. If you come in and you talk to them when they say, I want to talk to you, if you talk to them, if you answer their questions, or if you say, I don't know the answer, but I will find it out, then they're going to be just like you and I. They'll respond okay. But if you ignore them, if you turn your back on them, if you say you'll do something and then you don't do it, then they're going to respond the way you or I would.
What would you say because you're the prison superintendent, obviously you're the grand poobah, what would you say your reputation is here with the kids? If I were to say, what do you think of Ms. Commons, what do you think they'd say to describe you?
They call me Grandma. They think I'm nice. I mean, it's easy for me to be nice because I have so many other staff who can do the upfront tough stuff. But I think I want them to see me as someone they can talk to, somebody who will respond to their issues. But as far as being nice, I think I'm fair. And sometimes a person who's locked up will equate fairness to somebody who's nice.
Would you say you're tough, but are you firm but nice? Would you kind of, because you also have to be firm with them in order to get them to respect you.
Right.
But how do you handle that between being, not being seen as too nice and being a pushover, right, but being fair and not being...
The policies and the procedures and the rules that we have in the facility, I think are fair. And so for me, it's easy. I just follow those expectations and those rules and try not to get into the situation of where I'm going to make lots of exceptions. We have staff who find it hard to hold people accountable, and so they're always making an exception. Well, when you do that, you're setting yourself and the other people up for failure because you never know what was the last exception I made. Now I have to make another exception. And with the boys that we deal with here, they really do understand this is what you have to do when you say this is what you have to do. But they only understand that if that's what you do. You follow through on that. If today you say this is what you have to do and tomorrow you've changed it to something else, and then the next day you change it to something else because you can't remember what you did the last time, you create a lot of problems. So just following those rules and expectations, it works out pretty good.
Do you feel like a grandma here in some ways?
I am. I'm older than everybody here. Older than everybody here. So yeah, I am.
Is it unusual to be a female in this position?
No, we have, across the system, there's, I wouldn't say that we have half the superintendents are females, but over time, there are lots of women who go into the superintendent positions in all the facilities. And on the juvenile side, it goes back and forth, but right now we have a couple of juvenile facilities with women and 2 with men, so we're about 50-50 right now.
When you're on the parole board, what you said,
Mhm.
when you're on the parole board, what do you feel like your role is there? Like, do you explain to me what you have to do on that parole board and what you think your role is?
Well, my role is to ensure that the facility's approval for the student's release, meets all the state requirements, that the young person has completed their program, successfully completed their program, and that all of those risk factors that we were aware of were addressed in the treatment program. Because once they're released, they're back out into the community, and we have a high level of responsibility to protect the community, and we do that by ensuring that they're ready to leave when they leave. As we go through ARC, you'll see at the questions that we ask, we're probing that individual to see if they can communicate to us what they've learned. If they can't talk about it, that doesn't mean they haven't gotten it, but it gives me pause to wonder whether or not they do, and so they have to convince me that they're ready to go and that they got it.
Is it tough to convince you?
Well, on one hand it is, but what I want to say out of respect for the staff is that a boy who comes in front of the Administrative Review Committee, he's ready to go home, or he wouldn't be there. And I know the staff who recommend them to come in front of ARC have done their job. And so even if I have some questions and some doubts, I will defer to the staff person because I respect them and what they do and the hard work that they do. But occasionally, and I know you've been there before, when there's been a child who's come in front of the ARC who is not ready to go, and that may be that something has changed, but it also may be that he convinced the staff person who recommended him that he was ready when he really wasn't. And so ARC has that higher level of looking a little bit more deeper into it to make sure that it is the right decision for them to leave. And one of the white students was allegedly Aryan Brotherhood, at least his family was involved in that, and so there was some indication that possibly he and these other kids had those kinds of conversations. So, you know, you look at them and you say, okay, you've been here this long, you've learned all of this, and you thought it was okay to do that. You're not ready to leave. I mean, you're not.
Right.
So.
And so if they're coming up for ARC tomorrow, obviously all of that will be discussed
Yes.
in the meeting.
Right. I know one of them is. The one we thought was the ringleader will be there. There may be 2 of those kids. So.
And do they really think that I mean, what would be a typical reaction in ARC for them to say, you know, why they did it or that?
If it worked, if what we did worked, they will disclose, they will be honest, they will be remorseful, they will be apologetic, they will take ownership for their behavior.
Yes, we did it, here's why we did it.
Right.
No matter how ugly the truth is.
Yes. And that's what I expect to see. If I see something less than that, then I may say, you're still not ready. You know, you're still not ready.
Because I've seen you be tough in ARC. I mean, it's not like you beat around the bush with these kids.
It's Karen, it's just so important that we help them grow up. I mean, when they leave here, they need to be gentlemen or real close to it. And there isn't any reason not to be. We give them, I mean, you've been here, you've walked around, and you've seen the captain, I mean, you've seen our staff. They have an opportunity to learn these things, and they have a good motivation to do it too, because they don't want to stay here. They want to go back to those folks that they love. So we give them the opportunity, and we see if they can seize the moment.
And if they can't, they stay.
They stay.
Before I did a lot of transition art, the one before the release art. And when the program director was here before, Tim Greathouse, he sat in on that and ran that. And there was a lot of times when we would have students come in and they just wouldn't admit what they did. They wouldn't own up to anything, and he would stop it and send them out and tell them to come back next time. until they owned up to what, you know, was being honest and showed the remorse and the things that Ms. Commons was talking about. And I've seen that happen several times when I was on transition art.
Because why waste everyone's
Yeah,
time?
and that's exactly what he would tell them. And then next time, most of the time, they would come back and do things differently, and show that they were serious about moving on.
There's a concept called fake it till you make it.
Fake it till you make it, yeah.
And you'll hear staff say, "Oh, that kid's just faking. He's just faking." Well, he may very well be, but oh, by the way, while he's faking it, he's doing it. And the longer he does it, the more likely that faking is to become a real positive habit in their life, and not just, I'm just doing it to get out.
I remember seeing kids though who you asked in Release Arc, are you remorseful? Well, no, he had it coming.
Right.
I punched him out because he had it coming. How do you deal with that? Like, he called my mother this, so I punched him.
Well, it goes without saying that sometimes a behavior that you exhibit towards somebody else is deserved, okay? But what we're what we're doing is teaching them how you control yourself from doing that, giving somebody what they ask for. Just because they ask to be hit doesn't mean you hit them. Or just because I left my radio here doesn't mean it's okay for you to take it. Because that's the criminal thinking that, oh, you were the one that left it laying there. So we deal with that. We deal with that a lot. Yeah, a lot.
My name is John Teague. I work for E15, Military Specialty Unit.
So, John, how do you think that you would describe what kind of personality it takes to work on that unit with kids?
First of all, you have to be very patient. These kids, you got to understand they've committed crimes. They're here for things that may have gotten a little out of control on the outside. So patience is a virtue. I mean, it's one of the things we really have to have, and even tempered, able to talk to the young men. Hands-on, a lot of that didn't work with them on the outside. People punched on them, beat on them, talked negative to them. You got to kind of be ready to reinforce some positive behaviors and let them understand that there are rewards for positive behaviors.
Do you find that it's sort of a mix of you have to be firm and tough, but yet understanding at the same time?
Yes, firm and tough really works, and in my case, when you're 6'6" and 280 pounds, they look at you and they say, okay, I don't want to mess up here. That helps, but it also helps if you temper that with, like I said, the positive attitude, and let the kids know that it's not always about the physical aspect. Sometimes it's the mental stuff that really helps.
And yeah, I'm sure that, I have to tell you, when I walked in here yesterday, I go, whoa, he's perfect for the unit, because you are such an imposing presence. And I would think too that a male figure working with these boys also helps, because they always tell me a lot of times they never had a father figure out on the outside. Does that help?
That plays a big role into that, because some of them look at you as a father figure, and that's that father I've never had. But you also have to let the young men know that I am not your parent. I am an officer in a correctional facility, and my job is to house you and to take care of you and try to make you a better person when you leave than you were when you came in.
Do you think any of the kids that come into that unit specifically, do they come in kind of one way and leave a totally different type
Pretty
of
much, I would say 90% of the kids come in one way. They expect one thing, and then when they leave, I think they're better from the program. They're better individuals. I think they're able to make more informed decisions, and their tempers. We tell them our job is to make you angry. We want you to get angry. You're angry here, and then next week here, and then it takes us here. And before long, we can't get you angry at all, and that makes you able to work on the outside a little better. Most of these guys come in with anger management issues. So if we can get them to temper that anger, that helps a lot.
So tell me kind of your thoughts about when kids are getting ready to go through Release Arc, and they're going to face a board of adults. That's a big process for them. Talk about like knowing when kids are ready and maybe when they're not ready.
Well, it's really kind of intense. I think the kids know more than we do when they're ready, because you'll have kids actually come up and say, I'm not ready for this yet, instructor. I'm really not ready for this. And then we have to give them some positive feedback and try to tell them, yes, you are. By you knowing that you're not ready for it, that tells me you are ready for it, because you actually have made a decision here to say that, look, I don't know, and to admit that you don't know something for these kids, it's a great accomplishment, because most of them know everything, or they think they do. So, I think it's a wonderful thing for them. My radio's going off here.
Have you ever had a situation where literally there's no one for a kid to go home to, and there's just that unknown of, even though they're technically ready to be released, they don't want to be released because this has almost become a home?
Right. Sometimes there are placement issues. We do have that problem where there are some kids that really have nowhere to go. So in that case, we're looking to some of our military kids as, well, maybe the military can become your home. It's a family. We are a family. We will help you in any way we can to see if maybe we can get you placed with one of our armed forces. So there are times when we do run into kids that have no place to go, and then we're looking at emancipation and a few other things to maybe help them out.